What if I told you that celebrating your financial wins this year could lead to your best year you've ever had financially? A lot of people would say that's a bunch of hogwash, that's not true, but really it's all about the mindset. And the mindset is that we are doing well, we are patting ourselves in the back, we are challenging ourselves, we are getting things done, and having that mindset actually propels you forward. Having the mindset of everything I did wrong, yes, you should take time to look at what is going wrong in your life, but and not just what's going wrong in your life, that would be horrible, right? What's going wrong and how can I fix it? We should also be celebrating our wins, and a lot of us forget that. So in this video, we're going to go through the how, why, and when to celebrate your wins to get you propelled forward to a great year financially in 2025. Now, for those of you who have been here before, welcome back again. We're happy to have you. We're so glad that you're enjoying the content, and please let me know anything else that you want to hear about. For those of you who are new, welcome, welcome. I am Lisa. I've been a financial advisor for over 14 years, and I help people get to financial freedom as quickly as possible. So let's get started. Just as a note, I look off to the side to look at my notes. That's what I'm looking at, not somebody waving me on or something. So, all right. So why celebrate your wins is a question I get a lot. People say, well, if I'm celebrating my wins, then it's like I've accomplished something and I haven't accomplished what I wanted to get to. But celebrating your goals being completed, or small wins, or things like that, keep you going. You're more motivated to keep moving forward. And recognizing your progress gives you confidence. It helps you reinforce good habits. So a good example, and I think I've told this before, but I always thought I should do yoga, and I'm like, I'll do yoga. And every time I would try to do James Clear's lay out the mat, and I still wouldn't do it, right? I hated doing it. And instead I said, I can do 5 minutes. I can do anything for 5 minutes a day. And I started doing that. And 5 minutes a day of yoga has been what I've done. Do I do hour-long sessions? I can. I have. But at the same time, I still do yoga every day because I do 5 minutes of yoga every day. And that has been a good habit because it's led to doing more stretching. I do a program called Eccentrics that has been really good for my body, helped me really enforce and take out aches and pains. I started doing strength training, which I've never done strength training before, and I do about 15 minutes a day of strength training 4 times a week, which I think is pretty good. I do cardio, which I've always enjoyed doing cardio, but it really has reinforced good habits. And that same thing of celebrating wins, every time I finish my 5 minutes, I kind of give myself like a high five, which looks stupid, I'm sure, to anybody else, but for me, it makes me feel good because I did what I had such a hard time doing for so long, which is my yoga practice. So it just feels good to reward yourself for doing a good job and for recognizing that, and not just always being kind of Debbie Downer. Yes, that's an SNL reference, if you guys remember that Debbie Downer character that would go wah wah. Like, we don't want to keep thinking that when it comes to our financial future. We want to be positive. And if you're not positive on this stuff, you're never going to try. And I think that that's the hardest thing, as I see, is people give up so easily. They just assume that they're not going to get to where they need to go, and that they need to change course, or they need to change what their expectations are going to be in life because of that. Oh, I'm not going to take big trips. I'm not going to retire. I'm not going to be able to start my own business. I'm not going to. And instead of just taking that challenge on and making it happen, we tend to say, well, it's easier for me to manipulate my life around that rather than take on that challenge. And I find that hard. It's hard to own a business. I own one myself. It's very difficult. It's hard to save. It's hard to do that stuff. And am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. I spend enough money My husband goes, what are those Amazon boxes doing here all the time? One time I was doing a video, actually last week I was doing a video, and the Amazon lady came running through the video. I'm like, well, now I gotta restart. It just shows how often they're here though. So we want to celebrate things and try to feel like we're doing good things, but we're not feeling restricted. Celebration does that. Now, what counts as a financial win? A lot of people go, well, I don't know what is a financial win. Financial win is paying off debt, maybe, hitting a savings milestone. We did that recently. We're very thrilled about that. Now we've upped it for the end of the year, which, this is early December we're doing this, so we'll see how we do for 2024. But, you just got to keep up in the game a little bit. Starting a retirement account. I know people go, oh, that's ridiculous. Starting. How many people have been saying, I'm going to start an IRA, I'm going to start a brokerage account, I'm going to finally do my 401k, and they don't do it. So just starting it and getting started is a celebration, in my opinion. Sticking to your budget that month, maybe you've done some of the things that we've talked about in other videos, like, no buy weekends, no buy a month, things like that. And if you get through that, my gosh, you should give yourself a pat on the back. That's amazing. Doesn't mean to go out and buy everything under the sun, but it means that you've really accomplished something, which is great. Avoiding unnecessary purchases during a tough week. A lot of us will eat, if we're feeling down and stressed. I tend to be one of those people. And a lot of people shop, and I've done that too. And if you can get through a hard week without shopping and buying things that you don't need, that's an accomplishment. That really is. So make sure that your goals or your celebrations, things that you're celebrating are personal. So don't ever go, well, Lisa said, not that I think that I'm that authoritative in your life, but Lisa said I can only celebrate a savings goal or something. Let's say you just, I hate to say this, but it seems like so small, but this is true. Let's say, you go out with a friend and you're walking down the street and they're like, let's go up in Starbucks, let's get a coffee. And you're like, I kind of don't want a coffee. I kind of don't want to spend that money right now. And you sit there and you don't get a coffee with her or him. You just say, you go ahead, I'm just going to have a water or whatever. And you get water that's free. That's an accomplishment. That really is. You should pat yourself on the back. It's hard. I read a book. I'm always reading books about dieting and stuff. And I read a book once about how you shouldn't eat when you're not hungry. And they tell you, here's the feelings you have when you're actually hungry and your mind's not playing this joke, and you shouldn't eat when you're not hungry. To me, this is extremely difficult because let's say you're not hungry and it's dinner time and you're supposed to go out with friends for dinner or family. You're just not going to eat? And that's what she says. Yeah, you just don't eat. You just don't eat during that time. I have never had the guts to do that, but that's the kind of thing that you should celebrate. If you sat through an entire meal and didn't eat anything because you weren't really hungry with all the smells and with everybody else doing it and people going, why aren't you eating? I don't understand. Like that's an accomplishment. I would totally give myself a celebration from that. I mean, I think that's amazing. So I don't know. Someday maybe I'll have the guts to do that. We'll see. All right. So how do you celebrate without overspending? That's another question. Well, what am I supposed to do? Maybe you make your favorite homemade meal. Maybe, you do a movie night at home. Maybe you take a walk out in, nature on your street. Maybe you go chat with a friend that you haven't talked to for a while. You call a friend you haven't talked to for a while. Small splurges that align with your budget are okay. Maybe you're at the grocery store and you decide to buy that bouquet of flowers for yourself. That is totally okay. It is totally fine to spend a little bit of money on something. Share your win with a friend or post it. Social media is huge on that. You will get a lot of encouragement if you post a win on social media because it's positive, because how much negative stuff is on social media now, and you're just like, oh, I can't look at this. When you see something wonderful happen for somebody, you tend to celebrate it with them, which is wonderful. And then you could also do a visual tracker of your goals. do a chart or a jar. I have a jar that I put little gems in, that if I do my 5 top things I'm supposed to do for the day, I get 1 gem for each thing. I think that's kind of fun. I like it. It's nice. And planning for 2025, how do we turn these wins into momentum? It's great to celebrate yourself. It's great to give yourself that little pat on the back, all that stuff. But how do we change this into momentum to hopefully create the best year you've had so far financially? Well, you're going to reflect on your work, throughout the year. What habits are paying off for you? You could do this via journaling. You could do this just by taking a couple moments of reflection. I like journaling. I think that that's a really good thing to do. I do in the morning, I do Tony Robbins priming exercise. A lot of you might know what that is, but part of that is you reflect on what you're grateful for. You reflect on wonderful past memories with friends and family that you love. And you also think about what you're going to accomplish in the future. And part of that, I added a little bit of it, as part of it is thinking of my top 3 goals. And I do that every single day. I also have a gratitude journal I do. It's very short. If any of you are interested in that, please email me. I'm happy to send over the link. It's just on Amazon. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it was like $12 or something like that. And I use that every single day. I'm almost done with that one. I gotta get another one. And those kind of things have really helped me stay focused on A, what's important, but B, what my goals are and how we accomplish them. And I feel like I've had the best year I've ever had in terms of business and hitting our goals and things like that. And I can't say for sure it was the journal that did that, but I do feel like I've been more focused and I know what I want. And it doesn't have to be an aggressive focus. I feel like it's a focus of intention, but not having to just kill myself to get something and just be going down lots of rabbit holes. I've been very focused on YouTube, for example, has been a very big focus of mine in 2024. And I stay focused on that. And I have a particular reason I want to do that. I have, so you stay very focused on your goals when you do some reflection daily. And even if it's just a couple minutes, it's totally fine. Set clear, specific goals. We had a goal, a savings goal. It was a clear, specific number. It was very specific, in fact. And so you should do that. Don't just say, I want to save more. Okay? If you want to save more, you're not going to have the discipline it takes to not buy that Starbucks when your friend wants to go buy something, on a whim. You won't have that because you have no number in mind. It's an eventual thing. Break large goals into smaller steps. I think that's always a good thing. And celebrate along the way. And maybe celebrate, if you're lacking some motivation, find just a nugget of good things that happen, a nugget that you could celebrate. It just gets you in a better mood because we don't do good work when we're depressed and sad. And I'm going to close on an interesting thing. This just kind of came to mind when I was talking, but we talk a lot about motivation. I've spent my entire career trying to figure out how to motivate people to save more, to be more proactive in their finances, because I know what it's like not to be proactive in your finances, or to feel stupid, or to feel like I don't understand it, or all that stuff. And before I was a financial advisor, and even I would say the first 2 years of being a financial advisor, I didn't understand anything about finance. I was not a financial major. That wasn't, economics wasn't my major. I was an English lit major. I was a school teacher. I didn't know anything about finance. And I think the thing that, I've been trying to figure out is, how do I get other people motivated? And so I was listening to the Huberman podcast today. He had Morgan Housel on, who I've talked about in the past, is a great financial writer. If you want to understand the psychology of money, which is the name of his book, one of the names of his books, that's a good one. But they were talking about motivation. I can't quite remember the context. I'm not through the whole episode, but this really stuck out for me. Andrew Huberman, they were talking about what motivated people, and he was saying, do you know what got people to stop smoking? And Morgan Housel said, no, I have no idea. And he said, it wasn't a series of, you're going to die, look at how bad it is for you. The scare tactics did not work. The way they got the younger generation to stop smoking, of course there's still people that smoke, but in general helped a lot for getting younger people to stop smoking, was to make it a kind of generational thing. So he said that they were making ads where they showed, old men of the generation, the power hungry corporate guys, in a room full of smoking and saying, this is how we're going to get those kids. And the younger generation is rebellious, right? So they played into the rebellion of saying, I'm not going to be like that guy. I don't want to be like that. That is not what I want to do. And you guys want me to smoke? I'm not going to smoke. And they played into the rebellion a bit. And so essentially, you've got to find what you're rebellious against so that you can help yourself move forward in a positive way. And maybe that's, you're rebelling against some of the best stories that are out there are rebelling against family decisions that have been bad financially. So if you sit back and you say, my family did such and such wrong, how are you going to do it different? And that might be a good place to start to push forward, motivate yourself, celebrate your wins, that kind of thing. Try to find what that rebellion act is in you that is going to push you forward, because it pushes you away from what you don't want. And stop thinking about, I'm going to be poor, or I'm going to be this, or that's not going to help you, because those are long-term down the line. I think this is actually what they were kind of referring to, is that trying to get young people to save for retirement seems ridiculous, because you're 18 years old, maybe 22 out of college, I don't know. Retirement is 40 years away from you. I'll do that later. I'm going to have fun now. I'm going to just try to make my bills happen. Are you crazy? I'm not going to save now. And, instead of going that direction, start to think of how you can change the course of your life against something that you don't want. And that might be a great motivation. And as you do that, celebrate those wins down the line. That was a little off topic, but I hope those stories helped. So until next time, take care, smart savings, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.